Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and we'll see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday and welcome to the Recher podcast. Hope everybody is having a wonderful day, whether you're watching here in the Tampa Bay area or abroad. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get those subscribers up, trying to get over 1,500. We are getting closer by the day. This is our final show of the week, only a 2-show week because I leave for South Carolina at 3 o'clock today. We have a game at Clemson tomorrow, and we'll be in South Carolina and North Carolina all weekend with Hit Factory. So the final show of the week, and it is a big one, arguably one of the biggest shows that we have had in the history of the Recher podcast here on Tuesday, June 17th. We're going to start off with Ray's assistant hitting coach, Brady North, at 12:05. We've got JJ Moser, Lightning defenseman, joining us from Switzerland at 12:30. We've got the Sage, the great Ira Kaufman from Joe Bucs Fan, joining us at 1 o'clock. And then at 1:30 today, Leo Fernandes, Tampa Bay Rowdies midfielder, former USL League MVP. The team is playing much better as of late. He's got a lot of great things going on and off the pitch. So, wow, what a great show that we have in line for you guys. NBA Finals last night, touch on that a little bit, as well as the Indiana Pacers are now one game away from being eliminated, and some big news here locally. And Carlos is bringing it up right here. New soccer stadium coming to Tampa. Yes, we've seen this earlier today. The Tampa Bay Sun have announced that they are proud to share their vision for a permanent stadium right here in Tampa in Ybor City. I got the pictures for you guys right here so we can share it right here on the program. Look at that. How nice would that be? Unbelievable. Look at that, man. Crazy, right? Right there in the heart of Ybor. Unbelievable, man. How great would that be? And yeah, listen, you never know. You get something where maybe somebody comes in, they buy the Sun, they buy the Rowdies, and maybe that's, I think ideally that's a lot of people have asked me that, because we know that the Rowdies are owned by Stu Sternberg and the Rays, but they're both under the USL umbrella, USL Championship for the guys, USL Super League for the girls. Ideally, them playing under the same roof, would that make a lot of sense? I think it would. I think it'd be great. And I think that's how you really capitalize on everything. And we saw some great videos from the Rowdies before and after the Tampa Bay Sun won the USL Super League Finals. So really, really class there. And listen, the best way that both those teams can grow in our area is if they work together. And that's what you love to see. Shout out to Dave Terry. You got the right callers on the wrong team. Listen, with such a big show today, right? JJ Moser's a big Manchester United fan. Leo's not, but it is what it is. But this is a Cristiano Ronaldo jersey. Yeah, I can turn it around. You can see it there. Listen, for such a great show, you have to wear a jersey of one of the greatest of all time. That's what I did today. Shout out to Ryan B. Lady Evil. Hey, Jay, I went to the Rays game last night. What a great experience. Do you think it's realistic to have Rays baseball, playoff baseball time for? Yeah, 100%. Why not? The way that this team has played as of late, and they're doing it in so many different ways. Contributions up and down the lineup. I love that at times they can play a little bit more small ball. At other times they can hit the ball out of the yard. They're firing on all cylinders right now. 19-6 in their last 25 games. That home field advantage that we were wondering if that was going to happen right off the bat, and it didn't. But man, the home cooking as of late has been really good. And your best players are stepping up. You guys like Yandy Diaz stepping up, Junior Caminero stepping up, and it's just a great thing to see. A lot of people happy. And listen, you're playing a Baltimore Orioles team, and don't just look at what their overall record is over the entire season. Just look at how much better they played as of late, and they had no answer for the Tampa Bay Rays last night. All right, let's bring him in. It's our good buddy, Brady North, Ray's sister. Yeah, look, I see they let you inside there, baby. What's going on, brother? How are you?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I mean, what are the vibes like right now with the team? 19-6 in the last 25. I mean, just you guys are firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, it's fun to go to the ballpark every day. The guys are definitely confident. They're showing up and working every day and feeling really good.
What was the big adjustment? Because, you and I spoke before the season. You were talking about routines. That was a different routine. What was there any adjustment that was made from the beginning of the season to, let's say, like a month in? Because the home field advantage that wasn't there in the beginning, it sure as heck is there right now, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it was a learning curve. We definitely have adjusted just time on the field for pregame work. We've had to pull back a little bit just because that heat is, as you know, it's no joke. So the guys have made, and credit to them, they made the adjustment, continued their work just a lot more indoor than outdoor.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I started coaching again last weekend, first time in 8 years. And I remember coaching back in the day for Freedom High, coaching first when you were at first base for Gaither. What are your fond memories from playing high school ball here in the Tampa Bay area?
Just the talent and competing against some of the best players in the area. And, I think there you're so innocent, right? You're just having fun out there. And we played all year round. So it was always, whether it was fall ball or Legion, I think just the fun we all had.
Who was the best player that you faced in high school?
Probably Jose Fernandes.
Yeah, people asked me who the best player I saw, and it was clearly him. We played them in Saladino and Brandon, and they came to Freedom one time, and he hit a ball to left field at Freedom that I still don't think hit the ground. It's kind of crazy to think what his career would have been like, right, if he was able to, still be with us. Unfortunately, he's not. When you look at this roster right here with the Tampa Bay Rays, there's guys that have been there and guys that, maybe you didn't expect to be there. But I want to talk about a couple of guys, Mangum and Meisner. I mean, watching those guys and really making the most of opportunities, what has lended them to be so successful?
I mean, just two unique skill sets, right? Mangum is just the contact and the athleticism is so unique where he can put a ball in play and make something happen. He swings a bat so often, and normally you see that and it kind of tends to go the other way. It works in the defense's favor. He just finds a way to find some holes. But he's a baseball player, and Cam's the same way. Mize is just so fun to watch. Watching him play center field is a joy.
We got to give a special shout out to your niece Kyla that she's watching right now. So shout out to Kyla watching watching Uncle Brady do his thing. I was pretty vocal. I was upset. You guys sent Chandler Simpson down, but he's still crushing it right now. What about how exciting is it to be able to watch him do his thing out there? Because it's unconventional, man. He's the slap guy. He's not going to go up there trying to go yak, but when he is out there, when he's in the lineup, like what is that like from your perspective, watching him and knowing that at any time he could do something just to set the entire game on fire?
Well, it's almost like watching him come up and how the defense is adjusted. I mean, watching some of the outfielders play so shallow, you're looking out there like, what's going on? So that's just so cool to see an individual guy have that type of skill set that is literally forcing teams to adjust the way they're playing defense is just – it's just fun to be a part of in itself, to see that an entire industry saying we have to change how we normally do things to defend this guy. Yeah. So that's special talent right there.
What have you noticed from Josh Lowe batting in that leadoff spot? I know for many years, Yandy was batting leadoff. What's the kind of the thought process for Cashy to do that? And what have you seen as a guy kind of, is he taking more intelligent at bats? Is he staying in the zone? Like, what does that lend it? Like, how has that affected the way he goes about his approach at the plate?
I don't think he's really effective. I think he just takes his normal at bats. He's always given a good at bat, no matter where he's at in the lineup. And I think just having him there, giving some Yanni down, some guys on down that 3-hole is maybe some of that thought process. But Jay hasn't changed much there. He just takes a pro at bat, no matter what.
Junior Cabanero is a guy, I mean, you're just looking at, he's a guy that just keeps getting better and better and better. I mean, you think about how young this kid is, Brady. It's wild to think what he can be, right, in the next 2, 5, 10 years. What have you noticed from him as far as his game and how it's evolved over just this season?
Just how fast he's learned, where teams have been attacking him with sinkers in and, the conversations of laying off of it. And he's proved to us that he can lay off of it or just get it out of there. I mean, in New York, there was 2 balls off the plate in sinker that he hit like 110 out for a home run. You're like, well, if he can hit it like that and swing at it. So, yeah, he's a blast to watch. Very special talent.
When you guys go up to Queens and there's a buzz right now up with the Mets and they're playing as well as they are, Soto goes there in the offseason. They have Lindor. Alonso's been doing really well. And you guys go up there and you sweep them. What was the thought process going into that series? And then what was the thought process coming out of that series, knowing you guys are playing some good ball? But when you go on the road and play a team like that, one of the best teams in all of baseball, but especially a dominating team in the NL, what did you kind of learn about your team in that series, if anything?
I think the team really learned today. We are here to compete, and it's real. This isn't just a hot streak, and these guys can compete night in, night out. And that's kind of was the message before the thing, is just play our game and let's see what happens. And that's what we did.
Do you guys? I know it's so early in the season, but do you look at the standings at all? Because when you go 19-6, and now you're 20, now you're 2.5 games behind the Yankees. When it seemed a couple of weeks ago like it was out of reach. Do you guys look at the standings at all, or do you just kind of take care of what you guys take care of?
I personally don't yet. We got a lot of baseball left. I rely normally my dad will tell me somewhere where we're standing, but I try not to this early.
Yeah, Nelly, I'm sure Nelly's all over it, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
What about the road trips with the wife and little ones, man? I mean, you guys, and it's so well documented. You guys put it out there, and it's just so cool to be able to see the boys, enjoy these incredible cities around the country and take in these games.
Yeah, I mean, this last one was a family trip, so everybody's family was there. They got to fly with us this time, so
nice.
Or I should say, I got to fly with them. They kind of took over. But it was awesome to just be sitting on the plane with them and, just kind of doing every little step with them was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I look at some of the experiences with the Rays and just the communication. And you've talked about this before with me, but just especially this year with so many moving parts and playing in a different stadium. Is this where Kevin Cash's kind of strengths really shine through, because you have things that never happened before, like you're dealing with rain delays, stuff like that? Is this where Cashy has done probably one of his better jobs in his time with you there, because there's just so many unknowns, and I'm sure there's going to be even more unknowns as the year goes on?
Yeah, I mean, I think the roster's so unique. The pitching staff is so good. I think his creativity just comes through on how he builds the lineup and how he schedules guys to throw. Obviously him and Kyle's relationship is so strong. They do a great job doing that.
What about Pep last night? I mean, he's been a friend of the program as well, and such a really good guy. And I told him, I'm like, yo, you're a bulldog out there, man. You're sweating bullets. You look like Patrick Ewing in the first inning. He's drenched, whether it's inside or outside. But when he has a performance like he does last night, I mean, my goodness, that's got to be inspirational for the whole team.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome. I mean, everyone was so excited for him. Even him going back out there and Nathan coming back in, everyone was just so excited for him. That was a great performance for sure. Yeah,
I mean, when the pitching is doing that, your defense is doing it and you're hitting it, just it seems like everything is complementing each other right now. What would you say is kind of the secret sauce to the success over the last month or so? Is it just kind of everybody doing their role, Brady? If you could point to one thing, what would it be?
No, I think it's actually the focus and concentration, because we have shrunk the work days and the reps are down, but the reps we are taking, the guys are laser focused and, getting the most out of each rep. And I think it's just translating, whether that's, pregame fungos where we're, blasting live fungos at them, they're focused for that 5 minutes we're asking them to be. And you can see the double plays being turned out there. And same thing offensively. Guys know they're not going to get to see the ball flight out there early, but they get in the cage and get what they need. So kudos to those guys for sure.
Looking at a guy like Taylor Walls, he seems to come up in every big situation. It's crazy. Somebody asked me that. Why does that happen? I go, I don't know. What happens in baseball? It happens in softball. The same guy comes up in the ninth inning. It's whatever year it is, it's the same guy. What is it about Taylor that allows him to stay so composed? And I know, talking to him before in the past, he wants to be able to hit a little bit more consistently, but I'm just so impressed that he doesn't take it out into the field and he goes out there and he's a platinum glove kind of guy. Talk about the mindset for a guy like Taylor Walls, where he's a battler, he's a grinder, and he does whatever it takes to help this team win.
Yeah, you want to talk about work ethic. I mean, we got to pull Taylor back sometimes. He's the one asking for more. Even the hitting, he works his tail off in the cage. And I think you've kind of seen it this year where he's taking the lumps and he's gone back out there. He's definitely using more parts of his game than ever, bunting, hitting the ball on the ground a little more. But his defense, I mean, I get caught staring at him out there like, this is unbelievable. But Yeah, no, he can really play some baseball.
What's the work been like with a guy like Danny Jansen? Because I I had this conversation with Z a couple years ago, Mike Zanino, and he goes, Jay, you don't know how hard it is to come to a team like this where so many you're utilizing so many pitchers over the year, whether it's the guys in the 25, 26, the 40-man roster guys getting called up. He goes, it's a lot having to make sure and then I got to do my work offensively. What is it like for Danny? How is he adjusted to catching so many different unique pitchers and then also being able to contribute offensively?
I mean, I can't really speak on the catching side. That's kind of far away from my expertise. But, from the professional standpoint, Danny's he's the man. You want to talk about like the vibe guy, making sure everybody's relaxed, loose. He'll come into the cage even days he's not playing, crank the music up to a song, and we think he's about to hit, gets the mood going, and then walks out. We're like, all right. And then we find out that he was in the weight room changing music, clubhouse changing music. He is awesome, man. He brings the energy every day. Good veteran leadership, communicates well, talks about what he's seeing out there with the opposing pitcher. He's been really good for the group.
You mentioned pregame kind of preparation as far as on the field. Is there anything in game that you've noticed that has changed, whether it's the weather, it's the wind, or anything like, without giving away any trade secrets? But is there anything like during the games that you've noticed that the teams maybe adjusted to, or maybe just something that's caught your eye as, maybe when the sun goes down, it's different? Like, is that changed at all?
Nothing that I've noticed. I mean, I do think that this group has communicated amongst each other more than groups past, just in terms of what they're seeing, what this pitch looks like, or how they feel this guy's attacking, more than years past for sure. But nothing particular that stands out, no.
What about a guy like Bilal? I mean, this is a dude, and at times he can carry a team for 2 weeks, and then the big thing with him is just staying healthy, because when he stays in the lineup, I mean, he's one of the most productive players at second base in all of baseball. What have you noticed from him this year? Because it just seems like, man, when he'll go big fly twice a game, he just hits the ball hard. When he squares that thing up, it goes a long way.
I mean, he just proves how good he is, right? Like you just said, when he's healthy, I think he was the fastest second baseman to 100 homers. I could be mistaken on that, but I feel like last year that came across. But yeah, that guy can swing. But he's won this year too. Like he's helped the younger group. We have that roster turnover, young guys throughout the clubhouse, and Bilal has really stepped up and communicated with them. So he's been great.
When you face a guy like Eflin last night, knowing that there's a previous, experience and history there, how do you guys attack going against a guy that Like, are you worried that he's going to exploit some of your weaknesses offensively? Like, how does that conversation go with your guys, knowing that, all right, you kind of know what his repertoire is when he was with the Rays? You see how maybe he utilizes his pitch sequencing with Baltimore now. How do you kind of put that entire game plan together to try to be as successful as you guys were last night?
Well, we relied heavily on the guys that did play with him, right? The guys that stood behind him on defense, and they're the ones that really spoke about, hey, this guy's a pitcher. He's going to go strike to ball. He's going to try to get you to get yourself out, and we relied heavily on the guys like Bilal, the guys that stood behind him, and they spoke a lot more than we did.
That's amazing. Yeah, I wonder about that too. And you think about guys that you can utilize defensively, being on the field of what a pitcher does, and then utilize it on the offensive side, right? So there's almost like kind of like a cross pollination of everything, of like where I do a lot of teams do that in baseball, Brady. I know been involved with the Rays organization for a while now, but as far as communication in pro ball, I think overall, what's that communication like? Kind of pitching, defense, pitching, hitting, and stuff like that. Are the better teams the ones that utilize that the best?
I mean, I think the balance of information and just the game feel is what makes teams, really competitive. I think now with the pitch comms, infielders and even outfielders are in tune with every pitch call, which I think maybe there's a subconscious learning of like,
right,
this is how these guys attack, night in, night out. But I don't know. That's a really good question. I'm not sure what the rest of the industry is doing with that information.
Yeah, I wonder, because there is a lot out there, and there is some semblance of paralysis by analysis kind of thing. But I mean, if I try to read it when I played up the middle, like if I see a guy going breaking ball to a left-hander, I'm shaded towards the 3-4 hole a little bit, because he's probably going to be a little bit early on it. Would you have liked that playing first base, knowing what was coming a little bit more?
I liked it with lefties. I just used to have the second baseman like like whistle or something, let me know if there's off speed. Just because, like, I mean, you remember some of the names like Rock
Yep.
Shoulders and those guys.
Oh, my
You
God.
didn't want a man on first, or Keon Barnum with a man on first. You didn't want to be holding anybody on then.
Rock Shoulders hit a ball over the football field at Freedom, and Keon Barnum went 5 for 5 in a game, 2 ground rule doubles, 2 home runs, and the ball that hit the top of the fence and came back. We intentionally walked him 4 times the next game, and his dad was complaining. I go, big man, what do you want me to do? He went 5 for 5 in the last game. Before I let you go, man, how's USF camp out there with the kids?
It was cool, man. You know, driving here this morning, I was telling the boys, like, man, I grew up coming here, and I've had some flashbacks pulling in early morning, but it's been fun.
Unbelievable baseball here in the Tampa Bay area. Thank you so much for your time, brother. We'll say goodbye to Kyla, too, because I know she's watching, and the entire North family. Say hello to Mom, Dad, your wife, the kids, your sister, everybody in the family, my brother. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
You got it, buddy. The one and only Brady North, brother. This team is on fire. On fire. And a great guy. Listen, the North family, I got so much love for the North family. I can't say enough nice things about them. They've always been so great to me. And Gaither High School here in the Tampa Bay area, where Kevin Cash went to school, you know, with Coach Frank Permui there for many, many years. And, you know, now Nelly's been there since then. But, you know, they were always so great to me when I coached at Freedom. And then when I started working at the radio station and covering high school baseball, always so welcoming, always so warm. And to see Brady like rise up through the ranks and now be a part of this Rays coaching staff for the last couple of years. I mean, if anybody here in the Tampa Bay area has kids that have those dreams, that have those aspirations of playing in the big leagues and, you know, just being around the game of baseball. Listen, the amount of people on this planet that get to play in the big leagues, it's a very, very short, it's a very, very small number. But it doesn't mean that you can't make a career around sports, around the game that you love. And just look at Brady, you know, playing some pro ball, and he gets an opportunity to coach and works his way up through the ranks. And now he's with the big league team, and you see him on TV on the phone. It's just, you know, great things happen to great people, and they just don't make them better than Brady and the North family. So shout out to everybody in their family. I love you guys very, very much. And you're right. When the Rays are hitting people, this is a good one from Betty. When the Rays aren't hitting, people are quick to blame Chad Mottola, Brady North. He can't hit for the players. You're right. You're right. And I didn't ask him this because I've asked him before, and people ask me this too. Like, what is the job of a Major League Baseball hitting coach? And Brady, I think, gives a really great example and says they're like the rumble strips on the side of the highway. You know, you're kind of a professional baseball player, a hitter, you know, you're riding down the highway. Everything is all good. You know, you're flying down the highway on the Autobahn, driving as fast as anybody on the planet, doing your thing. And then you kind of veer off a little bit, rumble strips. And what they do is they kind of get you back on the road. They get you on the straight and narrow. And that's what we've seen this year. Even some of the guys that have maybe struggled a little bit early on. I mean, just my God, I can't say enough things about this hitting staff, the hitting coaches here with this team. I just want to look up the stats real quick. In the last 15 days with the Rays, just looking at the last 15 days, the last 2 weeks, Yandy Diaz is batting 409, Jonathan Aranda's batting 341, B-Lau's batting 333, Mangum's batting 313. I know Junior's batting 200, but he still has 4 home runs, and he's walked 7 times, so his on base is 310. Josh Lowe's scuffling a little bit, but listen, I think he's putting good at-bats together. He's finding a way to get on base. So, yeah, I don't – and that's just the qualified players. When you look at all the players, Morel's hitting better, 333. Wall's batting 333. Theis, 278. Meade, 250. Jansen, 241. So, when you look at this team in the last couple of weeks, I know there was some issues people were thinking offensively, but man, they have righted the ship. They have done so much better as of late. Good stuff from everybody. I know that play at first was crazy. Josh Lowe, when you lose your challenge, I mean, plays like that. And one thing that they've incorporated into the National Football League now, where if there is a play that is clear and obvious, incorrect, they'll whistle down. I think it happened to Graham Barton on like a holding play last year. if I'm not mistaken, or maybe an ineligible receiver downfield or an ineligible man downfield. And they just whistle down, no, not a penalty, keep it moving. They need to incorporate that into baseball. When you get a call that is that egregious, we got to get it right. We got to get it right. Shout out to Nathan Elliott. Cross, my guy. Whatever he's doing is working. David Britton, aren't you pissed they didn't let finish? Nah, not really. Not really, Dave. As long as he is healthy and he goes out there and puts his team in a position to win, I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. I really don't. A solid win for our Tampa Bay Rays last night. And when you can get into a spot where you're 2.5 games behind the Yankees for first place in the AL East, I mean, wow. That is very, very impressive. Why does it have to stop? It doesn't have to stop. Just keep going. Back in action tonight. Shout out to, I know a bunch of people that went to the game last night too. So hope everybody had a nice time out there tonight. 7:35 against the Orioles. There's a post-game drone show. Okay. Post-game drone show. Get out there. That's not something you necessarily do with an indoor ballpark, but outside, different deal. Dean Kramer on the mound for the O's, 5-7 with a 4.99 ERA, 61 punch outs, 1.37 whip. Zach Littell on the mound for the Rays, 6-6 with a 3.84 ERA, 58 punch outs to only 11 walks with a whip of 1.11. I saw something yesterday on social media saying that the Rays had a league low whip of a 1.08. And you guys know if you're under 1.1 and you're right around that 1 mark, you are elite. And then you get the cream of the crop. When you get those guys that are under 1, you're talking about all-star. You're talking about all-time great stuff. Shout out to our guy, Paulie Walnuts. Appreciate you, my friend. Shout out to Russo crew. Hit Factory all day, baby. Again, only show of, not the only show, but this is the final show of the week. So only 2 shows this week. A great one yesterday. If you missed it, please go back and check it out. The interview with Bryce Archie, how he balances USF baseball and USF football. That was a fantastic chat. And it sounds like he's got his eyes on the MLB draft in July. How does that affect his status for the football this fall? I don't know. Listen to the interview. Not right now. Well, we're done around 2:00. Go back to the channel and go check that out. Ian Beckles joined us yesterday speaking about the relationship between professional athletes and the media. Not a lot of people discuss stuff like that. They don't. And Ian's got a unique perspective, being a former NFL player and then being on the other side of the media. That was it was a lot of fun to be able to sit there with him and to be able to kind of go through that and just talking about the trust, because that's a lot goes into that. A lot goes when it comes to the trust between a professional athlete and the media. You don't necessarily know what to say, and there's a lot that goes into it. So when you get a chance, go check that out, because we had a lot of fun during the show yesterday. And then Sydney Nasello, the USL Super League final most valuable player, the former South Florida Bull. I said it yesterday and I'll say it again. She is a future Hall of Famer when it comes to USF athletics. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's enshrined over there one day and we're going to be celebrating her. And the fact that she's able to lay across an assist like that to Flo, it was buzzing. And our guy Greg Wolf hit me up. He goes, I can't believe you weren't there. I mean, I was coaching, man. I was down there in Braden. I was doing my thing. If I could have been there, I would have been there. But another great year for another team, another addition to Tampa Bay. And again, we showed you guys before, the Tampa Bay Sun looking like they're trying to get a stadium in the Ybor area. If we can get some soccer right there in the heart of Tampa, unbelievable. I need that jersey in the background. Oh, Chan Leonard. Oh my God, I need that jersey in the background. I'll trade you for a box of crackers and a sandwich. This is actually a jersey signed by a bunch of the Lightning players. I want to say, God, this was a while ago. Doesn't have a year on it, but I want to say it's probably about 7 or 8 years ago. There used to Lightning Power Play. We used to have shows, and I had a show called Light the Lamp. And when Light the Lamp was over, the season was over, They gave these to everybody that hosts a show on the Lightning iHeart channel. So it was really, really cool. All right. Speaking of the Tampa Bay Lightning and speaking of smart guys that are Manchester United fans, let's bring them in. The one and only JJ Moser here on the program. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Not much. Doing good. Enjoying the good weather here.
Yeah. How is it over there?
It's pretty nice right now. Like sunny, 80s. Nothing other to ask for.
Yeah, it's not like the craziness of the Tampa heat over here. Did you get a chance to experience the crazy Tampa heat before you left?
No, not really. I think it wasn't crazy at that point. It was still pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I hear that,
But
man.
yeah,
So
I heard it's pretty bad, right? I mean, not bad, but like pretty hot and humid.
yeah, stay over there as long as you can, my friend, before you end up coming back. I wore my special Cristiano Ronaldo jersey for you.
Nice.
Listen, as soon as he came back, I had to get the jersey because he's, obviously one of the greatest of all time. But what have you been up to, man? What's the offseason been like for you over there in Switzerland?
I'm mostly just spending time with family and friends, saying hi to everyone that I haven't seen in the last couple of months, 9 months, 10 months. So just spending quality time with them, and then other than that, like being active, playing golf a little bit, being out on the lake, and then started working out again a week ago now. So, yep.
How's your golf game? How's your golf game looking?
Oh, it's coming along. It's getting better.
I mean, you're playing on the blue line with guys like Radish and Perbix. I mean, two guys that they're always telling me how great their golf game. Did you have like a little bit more of a push to get better because those guys are always talking about it?
Yes and no. It's obviously always interesting to talk with them about it. They always give me little tips. But yeah, also even without them would be always nice in summer to work on your golf game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What was it like, man, first year with the Tampa Bay Lightning? We'll get to playing with Hetty in a second, but just what was it like? Because I said this earlier this year, I don't know if anybody's become a fan favorite as quick as you have. I mean, people just loved you from the beginning. They loved the way you play. You went out with an injury. When you came back, everybody was so excited to see you. What was it like being here in the Tampa Bay area and playing in front of that crowd at Amalie Arena?
Special for sure. I mean, coming from an organization like Arizona where it's a little bit different, it was new to me, but super, super exciting. I mean, the fans are crazy, and we love that. Mm-hmm. So the fans are super supportive. You feel it all around the city. Wherever you go, you see people that you think are random people just wearing a Tampa Bay Lightning shirt. Doing whatever, going to church almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Just walking around in Tampa gear, and it's nice to see it, and you feel everywhere, like the banners, it's always go Bolts, go Lightning, whatever. So it has been, a ton of fun.
Did you know that before you came here? Because I know some people, because I grew up in New York, so original 6 market. I knew that people liked the Lightning here. I didn't know it was that intense. Did you know how passionate the fan base was down here before you came here, or was it a little surprising when you got traded?
It was certainly a little surprising because, you still have that kind of feel because, like, 10 years ago, it was still more the Southern teams, like Florida teams, empty stadiums a little bit. I still had that a little bit in mind. Obviously, I was aware that it changed with winning the Cups and like being a great team for like a lot of years now. But I wasn't aware that it was that rooted in the society, in the city, in all the people from Tampa.
Yeah, it's amazing to be able to watch and how much it's grown. And I've been here 20 years now, and just to see the growth, it's insane. It really is. And, being at pretty much so many of the home games the last couple of years, and, unfortunately the season ended the way it did. Have you been able to watch any of the playoffs after you guys got knocked out? It's still tough. I mean, I watch it, but it's still tough to know that you guys aren't playing. And it's crazy to think that you guys are, of how long ago you guys got knocked out and they're still playing like 6 weeks later, right? Like you guys could still be playing right now. Are you one of those people that still keeps an eye on everything, or do you just kind of like, I'm not worried about it because we're not in it?
Well, I'd say I keep a half eye on it. I
Right.
mean, I'm not really interested anymore that much,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm still a fan of hockey. I'm always going to be a
Right.
fan of hockey, so I always enjoy watching the highlights, seeing what they're doing. But yeah, every time you see it, it kind of hurts a little bit. Like opens up the wound again because you
Mm-hmm.
like obviously it doesn't look that close on paper or on the score sheet, but you felt it. You felt it that you were like really close, and now you see the team that you got knocked out is in a prime position to win the whole thing. So that obviously always, yeah, kind of lets you feel the pain again.
What was the thing? What was the thing you think that was the reason why you guys came up short against Florida? Because it was tight. I mean, I was at every single one of the games, and it wasn't, even though it was just 5 games, it wasn't one of those things where it was like, wow, they blew them out, and there was one close one. Like every single one of those games, pretty much were nip and tuck, and you guys were that close. What do you think gave them the edge to win that series?
Well, from playing in the games and against them, you felt that you're right there, and then you're better at times. But I just felt in the crucial moments, they were just colder. They were just, I don't know, maybe they had more confidence to turn the game around when they needed it.
Right.
But it was just those yeah little moments where they were better. Game one they scored 3 power play goals.
Yeah.
Game two they got 1 goal, and then they just found a way to lock it down, and
Right.
then came back in game three, and then game four you had the exact same situation, a tight game, you're up one, you just gotta find a way to not get scored in the last 3 minutes like they did when they came to our
Mm-hmm.
home, and then it would be even series 2-2, and then yeah, everything can happen, and then same in game five. Like I mean, right after a power play coming out of the box, it's just those little moments where they were, I don't know, more composed,
Yeah.
smarter. I don't know. They probably have the groove of winning it last year. They have
Right.
the confidence of finding that little thing you need in those moments. I think that was yeah the biggest difference yeah
The difference
momentum
between you guys.
changing moments
Mm-hmm.
that they were a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm supposed to be objective, but just being around you guys so much, like I'm, of course, I want you guys to win, and being up in the stands there in South Florida, Game 4, that close to the game being tied, and then all of a sudden they scored, and everybody's going. And for us as the media members, you're shell shocked. You're about to walk into the locker room, and Hetty and Mac are about to talk, and it's tough for us to process it as a media. I can't imagine, being guys in that game, because you're a human being at the end of the day. You're a professional athlete, yeah, but you're a human being. I asked you this question late in the regular season. I asked you in the locker room, what's the difference between, with this team? What makes you guys stand out? And you said something to the effect of like the skill. You guys have a lot of skill. And you mentioned, there's only a few teams in the league that have the type of skill that you guys have. If the skill is there, what do you guys then need to change going into next season so that when you get an opportunity, when you're in a tight series, that you can come out on top? Can you use maybe the experience from this year to kind of help you in those tough moments? Do you maybe lean on the vets a little bit more, guys that have been there? I mean, is there a big change, or is it just because they're so close, you just kind of got to stay with it?
Yeah, it's more staying with it. If I would say, if I would have to say anything,
Rather than
it would be
a big change, right?
yeah. It
Okay.
it would probably kind of be the kind of playoff hockey, because
Yeah.
the skill we have is yeah undoubtedly amazing, and that helps us in the regular season. But I feel the more playoff hockey you play, even now looking at all the playoffs,
Right.
like the goals are less coming from skill of nice plays, and that
Mm-hmm.
most of the goals are just because it's so tight and everyone's so good. It's more just like bouncy pucks and rebounds and
Mm-hmm.
tips and net front. I think I think if anything, that would be it. To just yeah get on another level in those aspects, and kind of being better at playing playoff hockey,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
like taking that skill but apply it to like more of a playoff hockey, where you have the mindset of not thinking, oh, we're just gonna make nice plays and then we're gonna score one-timer top cheese. So more of, let's just use our skill to bring the puck to the net, to tip them, to get the rebounds, because you saw it, most of the goals are from those situations. And now you can also see like how with Florida, like that third line scores a lot of goals like that, even though without having the skill.
Right.
Or,
yeah, exactly.
Or not that much skill, but just having also maybe a different skill, which is finding those loose pucks. I think maybe that would be something that we could work on, be a little better.
No doubt. Yeah. Luostarinen and Lundell and Marchand has been a big pickup for them. And Barkov and Bennett are going to get theirs, and Reinhart. But you're right. It's those gritty goals that kind of put you over the top. What was it like playing with Victor Hedman? Because, I've been around here his entire career, and it's not easy to play with Victor because sometimes he's a little bit of a wild horse, man. He goes all over the place, and he's able to get back. That's the thing, is like he has that free reign to be able to get up the ice, because he's, he takes 5 strides. He's from one end of the ice to the other. But we've seen defensemen in the past have issues. We've seen other defensemen, guys like Jan Ruda and Anton Strawman, doing a good job. And you have just fit in so well with him. What is it about your game and his game that meshes together so well?
It's the way we see the game. I think that's what I would say. I think we think the game kind of similar, to where we're not stuck in your left, your right. You gotta be there. You gotta always be there. And if you're not there, I'm gonna panic and be confused. So that kind of fluid idea of the game, to just read where the other guy is, and then you make a play from there. If he's whatever going down the blue line, or if he's up, then you just read it, and then you just make a play. And you're not like surprised or scared if he tries something or goes down, goes in, whatever. So I think that's kind of why it worked out pretty well. That we're just both reading off each other, and we're not scared to try things and to be in different places than we usually would be.
The standard left and right defenseman, because I know for years John Cooper's always wanted, let me get a left defenseman on the left, let me get a right defenseman on the right. But with you, even very early on, it was like, no, even though JJ is a left-handed guy, he's going to play on the right side. Throughout your career, left, right, did it matter for you? And was that an adjustment coming here, knowing that, you were going to play on the right side, but also it was going to be, you're going to be moving around a little bit because Hetty does have that free reign?
Growing up, you would always just play where you were needed, or like it didn't matter that much. It was just two guys that work well together. They play together,
right?
And then, the more professional I got, you kind of it makes more sense. It's more natural for a lefty to play on the left side,
right,
and a righty to play on the right side. So when it lined up, you would usually play on your strong side. So professionally, I played more on the left side. I played like 2 years ago. I played half a season as a righty. I certainly had less of an issue than other guys, because I was always kind of not so stuck in one position. I was always like, I'll figure it out. And this season for sure took time to acquire skills that you haven't had before, because you never had to do certain movements in that kind of high pace game on the right side. So it was about acquiring a new skill, taking it off the boards on your backhand, and that the whole movement, and then creating out of that. So had to work on that, and I'm still working on that this summer to obviously get better at that, and just be more effective on that offside.
What is it like to play, because you faced him in the past, but what is it like to play on the same team as Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point? And what is it like to be able to see those guys just operate on a speed and a level that it's you watch that, you're like, holy smokes, man, it's tough to put into words.
Yeah, it's obviously better if you have them in your team than to play against them.
Right.
I can say that much. But no, it's impressive the way they move, the way they see the game. Sometimes you're on the bench and you didn't even see the play, and they're like having 4 guys around them and they still see the play, and you're so, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it makes sense. You see them every day in practice, and in summer you see all the little things that they're working on, and then you realize, okay, it's not even luck. It's not even a blind pass. Sometimes you think, oh, it was a blind pass, but it wasn't, because they're already scanning the field 2 seconds earlier. And when they get the puck, they know exactly where the passing lane is, and it's not even a blind pass. So you see where it's coming from, and you see the work they put in. So yeah, it all makes sense when the moment you're with them in the team and you see what they do every day. It makes complete sense.
All right, I got to ask you about the real issues here. What are we thinking about our off season?
The tough issues.
This is for all those watching for the first time. The majority of the time that JJ and I speak in the locker room, it has nothing to do with hockey. Yeah. It has completely everything to do with our favorite football team, the Manchester United Red Devils. All right, what do you think of the off season so far, my friend?
So far, what happened? So far, it didn't happen that much so far.
No, Cunha. They got Cunha, the guy from the Wolves.
Yeah, but they knew that already half a year ago.
Who do you want to see?
Half a year ago.
They need more guys, man. We can't go into the season. I mean,
when is the transfer window closing?
I don't know. I think it's all summer long. Yeah, they do. Time. What made you become a Manchester United fan?
What's that?
How did you become a Manchester United fan?
I was always a Manchester United fan since I can remember. I don't know. It was that team, like in the 2008, around when they won the treble. But I just always had jerseys from Van Nistelrooy, Van der Sar, and then the whole squad with Fernandes, Vidic, Evra. Like all the players were just, I don't know. I just always loved them, and then followed them. Probably because I got a jersey when I was a kid. But yeah, what do I want to see? We need a leader. We need a leader in center midfield. That's what we need. Yeah. I already told you, Fernandes is a brilliant player, but he ain't the leader that this team needs.
We need a Roy Keane type guy. That's what you want.
We need a Roy Keane. Exactly.
You need somebody to elbow somebody in the face if they don't do something well. What other team? Do you have any other favorite teams in any other sports?
The Dolphins.
You're the Dolphins.
Really? Weird story. When I was 7 or 10 years old, we traveled to Mexico, and then we stopped by Dallas Airport, and then my parents bought me this American football, like a small American football with the dolphin on there. And ever since then, I was just a Dolphins fan. I don't know, maybe because of the color, maybe because of the dolphin, but I just always had that mini football since I was 7 or 10. And yeah, it was same thing. It's tough to follow the Dolphins, and it's tough to follow Man United in the last 10 years. So.
Unbelievable. All right, I want to get one question in before you leave. First off, happy belated birthday. I know you just turned 25 on June 6th. Happy birthday there. And Chan Leonard wants to know, can you please ask JJ what do you think is Coach Cooper's best coaching quality? I'm fascinated with his style and would love to know what JJ thinks. Coach Cooper's best coaching quality.
I think it's his confidence and calmness. I think I've had other coaches that think they have to yell or be loud or whatever, do some little tricks to show who's the boss, kind of, who's in charge. And I think with him, he never feels the need to do that. I think he just says what he needs to say and what he wants to say, and he feels like that's enough, and he doesn't need to underline that with being loud or being whatever, doing crazy little games for the players to make him, to make the players listen to him. And then the calmness, if things are not going well, he knows exactly what needs to change. And then he also knows that it probably takes a little bit longer than you would like as a player, as a coach. You would always love to have the solution and that it works like next practice, next game, but it's not always like that. So I think those are two things that he does really well.
When are you coming back to Tampa?
It's going to be early September.
Nice,
when
man.
It cools down a little bit.
Yes, you're a smart man. Tampa Bay Lightning defenseman JJ Moser, and of course, fan of the greatest soccer team on the planet, Manchester United. JJ, I appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much. Happy belated birthday again. Enjoy the rest of your summer, man. We'll see you in September. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Enjoy down in Tampa.
All right, buddy. See ya. The great JJ Moser. Unbelievable, man. What a great guy. We're so lucky to have him here in the Bay Area. Just his demeanor, man. He's just a fun guy, and he's got that like thirst for life. He really does. And to be able to kind of chat with him on game days, it's just a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to be able to chop it up with him. And again, we're usually talking soccer, not so much about hockey, but I mean, that's what it's all about. That's why you go into the locker room. You be able to have, that experience with some of these guys. So, man, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, JJ, for joining us. If you want to get in on the conversation, I know Robert Cochran wants to give us a call. There you go, Putty. And, real quick, Chan Leonard with the super chat. Thank you, Chan. Thank you so much, man. Guys, please contribute via the super chat. $1, $2, $5, $10, $20, whatever. Every little bit helps here on the Jay Recher podcast. Our partnerships are going to be starting in the next 2 weeks or so. And man, doing this, the super chats, every little bit helps. Thank you so much, Chan. You are the best. Glad we could get your question in there. Let's go to our guy. He was in the building last night for the Thunder's win in game. Suited and booted. He bought the hat last night. He bought a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander jersey last night. Hold on, let me switch the background because you're not Ira Kaufman yet. Robert, what's up, brother? How was it last night?
Oh, it was so much fun. But I've had that jersey and this hat since the final started.
Oh, okay.
But Shea is just so great. He makes it a point to sign for everybody.
Really?
He easily signs 1,000 autographs a night after he warms up.
Unbelievable. So what was the game like last night?
Oh, it was probably the loudest building I've ever been in. and I've experienced playoff hockey in Amalie, and oh my God, it's electric.
How good was Jalen Williams last night?
Oh, so I knew he was capable of that because with Indiana focusing on trying to lock down Shea, which he still scored 31. And J-Dub said, okay, you can't lock both of us down. Give me the ball.
Right.
And just took over.
Oh, God, it was so good. I don't know if you saw this last night. Did you see my tweet about Halliburton?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
no.
Hold on, let me bring it up. Because last night, all this talk about Tyrese Halliburton and all this, and he's such a great player and blah 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 blah. This is what I said last night. Wait, how many points does Halliburton have in the fourth quarter? I had to do it to him. Because listen, he's a great player, and trust me, am I sore? Am I still a sore loser because they beat the Knicks? 1,000%. I am still sore about that. But, he was talking about cramping and dealing with some issues. And, I mean, listen, he has to play at his best if they're going to win this series, if they're going to compete. They go back to Indianapolis for Game 6. All right, take off your Thunder hat for 30 seconds. Do you think the Thunder close it out in Game 6? Or do you think they have to come back and do it in Game 7?
And this is a big if the Thunder play like they did last night, we bring Larry O'Brien home to OKC on the plane from Indiana.
Oh man, but you want to see it at home. So if there's a game 7, are you gonna go?
No, those tickets are so outrageously expensive. We're talking like 2,000, 2,500 just for the third deck.
No
now.
way.
Yes.
Holy smokes, man. And you guys were in there for game 5, so they were considerably less than that.
We spent 1,500 for the pair.
Okay, I get that. But 2,000 for one?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have to sell your car, Robert, to go to that game.
Absolutely. No.
Not doing that.
I'll watch it at the house. But I hope it doesn't get to that. I hope we just win it in 6 and parade on Friday.
All right. Sounds good. Well, today's my last show of the week because I'm actually going up to South Carolina to Clemson to coach, but I'll be back on Monday. Make sure you call in on Monday and we'll talk some more hoops, brother.
Absolutely, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right.
My man, Robert, he is our Oklahoma City insider there from OKC. Yeah. And then tonight, Game 6 of the Stanley Cup final. What's going to happen there between the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers? Ooh, buddy. And a lot of people are bringing up the Martin St. Louis, how the Lightning went up to Calgary for Game 6, and the Flames were talking all that smack, and, oh, the cup is in the building. Marty scores in overtime, and then they come back to Tampa for Game 7, and that is what Edmonton is hoping that they can do. Can Connor McDavid step up? I mean, this is the career-defining series probably for him. I mean, you go now down 3-2. You go into Florida, you go down to Sunrise, you win this game, and then you come back home and then you win the cup. I mean, not only does he win the Conn Smythe for the second straight year, but I mean, that's it. Like, he just etch your name into history. Connor McDavid, that guy. Wow, man. That's going to be a wild game. Wild. And they're just going to throw everything they have on net, and that's what they're going to need to do, because we saw it in Game 7 last year, an ultimate shutdown of the Florida Panthers. They got the lead, and then they played some of the best defensive hockey that you're going to see. It looks like Stuart Skinner is going to be back in goal, not Calvin Pickard, for the Oilers. So there you have that. How about Shohei Ohtani last night? 100 miles per hour in his short pitching debut for the Dodgers. LSU right now, College World Series, they're up 8-3 in the 8-4 now in the top of the 8th over UCLA. What a performance yesterday. The no-hitter that was thrown. I mean, my God, you just have to tip your hat. I mean, when you get an opportunity to throw as well as you do in a big-time game, and some people were asking, was that the greatest performance that we've seen in a big game from a pitcher? I mean, when you're talking about being a walk away from a perfect game. But Gage Wood, 19 strikeouts. A hit by pitch in the 8th inning was the only thing that prevented him from pitching a perfect game. I mean, you just Murray State, if you're going to go down, I mean, you want to go down with a blaze of glory. You went down with the ultimate blaze of glory. You got punched out 19 times. In baseball, you just got to tip your hat. There's nothing else you can do when a guy is that good. 19 strikeouts. Incredible. That is just what do you say? What do you say to something like that? But tip your hat to that young man, because he's never going to pitch a better game in his entire life. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. We've had such an incredible show these last 2 days. Again, final show of the week, because at 3:00 today, head up to South Carolina. We got a game at Clemson tomorrow. So a big tournament up there in South Carolina with Hit Factory. Great show yesterday with Bryce Archie and Sydney Ansello and Ian Beckles. We've already had 2 fantastic guests today. We got 2 more big ones coming up. It is a all-star show today. It's all about the professionals, all about the big names here on the program. We'll have everything up on our channel a little bit later today. I'll be in the car for 8 to 9 hours, so I'm going to put everything up on the YouTube channel. So make sure you share it on your social media platforms as well. If you missed our interview with Rays assistant hitting coach Brady North, or our chat that we just had with Lightning defenseman JJ Moser. Wow, what a chat with those gentlemen. And we keep the good times going. Forget about a good 20 minutes. He's going to give us a great 20 minutes. It is our guy, the one and only, the sage from Joe Bucs fan, Ira Kaufman. What a shirt, brother. What a shirt.
We start off with a test, Jay. I think it's 3-1 against it. You don't know who this is. 3-1.
Let me lean back. Let me see who it is. Is that the great John Denver?
Man's name is Dwayne Allman, Jay.
Dwayne Allman from the Allman Brothers.
Dwayne Allman, the late, great Dwayne Allman, died in a motorcycle accident, 24 years old. The leader, the man in the Allman Brothers, and my favorite guitarist, Jay, my
really?
favorite. Yeah.
Favorite guitarist of all time. Mine's Eric Clapton. I'm a Clapton guy.
That's strong.
Clapton, Carlos Santana, B.B. King. Those are my three guys.
Well, wait a minute, Jay. Now, Eric and Dwayne combined on the Layla album, which was a monumental pairing. I don't think anything's come close to it. Anyway, I want to wish you safe driving, Mr. Recher. Safe driving.
Thank you.
I just got off the driving range. Hit about 60 balls.
Really?
I shot a 72 last week, and then I made the turn, Jay. And I made the turn.
I was going to say, what was that, 72 on 6? What the hell? That's an unbelievable record there, my friend. Listen, you're the only non-former or current pro athlete on the program today, but your name stacks up with the rest. If you had to go pro in one sport, what would it be?
I would say basketball, Jay.
Really?
I had good floor vision. I was like a TJ McConnell in my day in the schoolyard in Brooklyn. The problem was, Jay, I drive the lane, I beat my man off the dribble, and then there's a 6'2" guy, and I'm 5'6", and I get up in the air, and Jay, once I'm in the air, you can't slide a piece of paper under my sneakers. I mean, that's the vertical jump I had, and then I was stuck. So, in the words of John Wooden, you don't jump up to pass. You jump up to shoot, and I never learned that, Jake. Never learned it.
Unbelievable. Move your camera up a little bit so we can see your lovely mug.
There you go, baby.
Shout out to our friends from Joe Bucs fan. This guy needs a coconut donut. Shout out to Steve Lee and everybody over there at Joe Bucs fan.
Hey, I'm feeling very good about my Giants all of a sudden. I'm feeling good, baby.
Let's start there, and of course, get all of the great Bucs stories, churning out content. I mean, I'm up in the middle of the night sometimes, and I'm like, Joe Bucs fan just posted. What? You guys are all over the place. I love it. All right, so give me your. Adames has not really lived up to expectations, but it's a long contract. It's still early, still adjusting. I mean, a huge deal. Buster Posey at the helm. Your San Francisco Giants acquire Rafael Devers to maybe play third. He's not going to play there when Chapman's healthy, but first DH, but a huge bat. A guy with a championship pedigree. What are your thoughts on the deal, Ira?
Well, you mentioned the right name, Jay. It's Buster Posey. This got Posey written all over it, and I'm glad he did it because, Jay, they've wasted a lot of great pitching. They're a top 5 ERA, team ERA. Their bullpen is really good. They got this guy, Rich Rodriguez, gives the ball to Doval in the ninth. But then, they're crawling along, losing 2-1 and 3-2 a lot, even though they're 10 games over 500. So Posey saw an opportunity. Yeah, he gave up prospects, Jay. He gave up prospects. I know all these guys. I follow the Giants very closely. Kyle Harrison, he's got a chance to be decent. This guy Tibbs, I think the 13th pick in the draft last year.
Florida State guy, so a lot
Florida
of guys.
State, that's right. He's got 12 homers in Class A. So he's got a potent bat. He's a bad fielder, so they don't know where to put him. But anyway. Jay, now they got Devers in the middle of that lineup. Chapman's got 12 homers. Adames is starting to hit. All of a sudden, this lineup doesn't look that bad. Verlander's pitching tomorrow night. He's been out a month. So, Jay, in my wildest dreams, they're not going to beat out the Dodgers over 162 games. They're not. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. The Dodgers are playing the Padres right now. Oh, I'm a Giants fan. Who the hell am I going to root for? I'm going to root for the Dodgers because they got a much better chance of finishing second ahead of San Diego than catching the Dodgers. But, Jay, in the postseason, anything can happen when you got a good pitching staff.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What do you so where does this rank them in the entire NL? Do you have the hierarchy Dodgers, Mets still? Where do you have the Mets when it comes to the hierarchy? Dodgers are obviously one, even if they don't finish with the best record. I mean, they just have so much talent. Man, their injured list roster could win 97 games in the league. Do you have the Mets at number 2?
I think I do, Jay. I think they're solid. Their pitching's also very good. But that's okay. I'll take a wild card berth. Jay, look, it's been a long time for the Giants. I mean, a long time. They won those 3 titles in 5 years. It was a fantastic time to be a San Francisco fan, Jay. And then, I don't know if you remember, in 2016, I think when the Cubs won it all or something, they played the Cubs in a playoff, and it was a pretty good playoff series. And then, Jay, out of nowhere, they won like 106 games like 3 years ago and lost the game 5, deciding game to the Dodgers. I think it was 1-0. So, Jay, even when they were winning those championships, they did not have a very good hitting team. It was all built on pitching and defense. And, boy, you get Devers that bat in the middle, Jay, it could make a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you think about those teams that won those championships. There was a stability to Posey and Belt and Panic and Crawford and Pablo Sandoval coming up big, and all those great starting pitchers that they had, and guys like Sergio Romo in the back end of the bullpen. They had some good players up and down. All right, who's got a better chance of coming back down from 3-2 in their series? The Edmonton Oilers or the Indiana Pacers?
I would say neither, but I'm going to say Edmonton. But I'll tell you what, Jake, the Panthers, boy, they're good. Yeah. Man, they're good. Maurice is doing a heck of a job. They don't give you any breathing room. That's why, I was very surprised that the Oilers could come back the way they did. It was in Game 4, right, Jay? Mm-hmm. I didn't think they could do that against a Florida team. That shows you the firepower Edmonton's got. I still don't think McDavid has really going in terms of a goal scorer. He's racking up a lot of assists, but it wouldn't hurt for a couple of goals from McDavid. I'm a Guy Lafleur man, Jay, to my bones, and until McDavid is carrying that Stanley Cup around, I got to put the Flower ahead of him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And as much as assists are great and getting everybody else involved, I mean, when you're that good, you have to put the puck in the back of the net. That's what separates you from everybody else. What separates you from everybody else is because you look at this Buccaneers team with such a unique perspective over the years. And Ian Beckles sends his best. We had him on the program yesterday. He said he always enjoyed chopping it up with you in the locker room. It was always a fun laugh and a fun comment. You and I spoke a couple of months ago, and you and I both agreed that 9.5 wins seemed a little bit low for the Buccaneers. I'm actually even more optimistic about the Bucs since the last time we spoke a couple of months ago. What about you after mandatory minicamp? Are you more optimistic or less?
Well, Jay, you know me well over the years, and I don't often say this. I'm very bullish. I'm very bullish on this roster. Now, look, the defense got a long way to go, but they don't have to go to top 5. They got to go to 15. Mm-hmm. I don't see any reason with all, unless Grizzard doesn't know what the heck he's doing at all. Jay, I don't think you can screw up this offense. Right. I mean, Mayfield's in his prime. Bucky Irving isn't going anywhere. I think he's got a chance to get 2,000 scrimmage yards, not rushing yards, but scrimmage yards. And I think they'll keep a close eye on not wearing him out. I understand it's a fine line. But, Jay, every time that kid's got the ball in his hands, I'm expecting a 30-yard run or a 40-yard catch. I think he makes this whole offense go. And the offensive line is really good and tight. So barring injuries, Jay, they scored 29.5. I don't see why they can't have maybe the top offense in football. Todd Bowles, Jay, tell me what you think. He talked about looking over the films with a fine-tooth comb in the offseason.
Right.
Then he had some kind of revelation, an epiphany, whatever you want to call it. And he can't, he can or he won't detail exactly what it is. I'll tell you what it should be, Jay, watching the the 18 games, including the playoff loss. Stop giving the receivers 12 yards off the line. That's the epiphany. So I just don't think that he thought the pass rush was good enough to help out, and he didn't have that much confidence in a battered secondary, which was using backups a lot. Winfield wasn't doing anything. And I just don't think he had any confidence in the secondary, and he didn't want balls flying over their head. Well, Jay, they didn't give up a lot of balls over their head, but they sure gave up a lot of balls. And I was at that game in Atlanta, week 5. I'll never forget it. Kirk Cousins, he couldn't move before the injury. Now he's coming off an injury. They can't move him off the spot. 509 yards. It was pitch and catch. I was absolutely revulsed by that game, Jay. And we can't see. And I'm glad Atlanta's the first guy because you know what? You flex your muscles from the start and show them who's boss.
Yeah, I'm with you. I could understand. I mean, you think about the combination. Like this year, you're going to have Hassan Reddick and maybe like a Benjamin Morrison, right, as your combo pass rusher and corner. Last year, you're having Joe Tryon-Shoyinka and like a Josh Hayes at time, right? So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, and you're losing by death of 1,000 paper cuts, pretty much, by giving up that many things underneath, and especially early in the game. And I think when you're looking at a rhythm offense like you have with Kirk Cousins, if you do that, right, you let him complete those short passes, he starts feeling good about himself, and then those intermediate passes open up, and then he turns into the next coming of Johnny freaking Unitas against the Bucs, when against everybody else he looked like Johnny Bananas, like he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
And Jay, I could go back to the Denver game, which was week 3, and the Bucs were 2-0. Now they're coming, they're playing at home. Now, we didn't know Denver was going to end up as a pretty good team, and I think they're really a team on the rise. But, Jay, that's the only team I think that's the only team that really made the Bucs look bad last year was Denver. And if you remember the first quarter, Bo Nix didn't start the season well. First 2 weeks, not very good. He looked like a rookie. And he comes into Tampa, and, Jay, once again, Sutton for 8 yards, Sutton for 12 yards, hits the tight end for 9. There's nobody around the ball, Jay. There's nobody around the ball. Now, the Bucs were going to lose that game anyway because they scored 7 points. But you know what I mean. Too often this year, pitch and catch, and the passes were not contested.
Yeah, and it's funny because you and I, like we do every halftime, we got together and we had no confidence and I don't know if it's just the way that game was going. You and I were just like, they're not going to win this game. Like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter they were 2-0 and Denver was 0-2. Like, just the way that game was going, we've seen enough.
I even put down my Cuban sandwich to talk to you that day. Yeah.
We know the lie detector test determined that was a lie. The defense reminded me of corned beef and Newport Richie, flimsy, weak, and repulsive. You got that right, buddy.
Jay, I'm not thrilled, and look, I tend to go off on a tangent about this. I've been talking about it for years. But Jay, if you got championship aspirations, and I think the Glazers do this year, I think they do, with some justification. I don't know. Can you do better than Kyle Trask as the backup? I've been off on this tangent. People say, well, who's around? If you lose your quarterback, you're done anyway. Well, Jay, what if Mayfield's out a month? What if he misses 4 games? I don't want to go 1-3.
It's going to tread water for you, right?
Tread water. I don't want to go 1-3, Jay. I'm sorry. So I'd like a little bit more experience. Now, look, they know Trask very well. He knows the offense. I mean, I've heard all the excuses, but Jay, I'd like a guy who's thrown more than 11 NFL passes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just a familiarity with the system that they like, right? I mean, it's you and I spoke about this a couple of years ago too, when you're talking about that this team has been very lucky when it came to their health. And even last year, I mean, in the middle of the season, they lose Godwin and Evans, and then you go into Kansas City and you take the freaking champs to overtime, which I think says a lot about the team as a whole and Baker Mayfield. And I look at that situation. If Baker goes down, they're probably screwed anyway. But who else would you get? Would you get it like a Teddy Bridgewater type? You bring Jameis Winston back from the Giants? I mean, what do you do? I mean, in a situation like that?
Speaking of Jay, speaking of bowls, and I think this is an important point to make on your show. And I'm right about this for whatever the reasons are, and there's a myriad of reasons. But Bowles in 3 years, he has not won over Buccaneer kingdom. He just hasn't won over Buck Nation. They don't like his stoicism on the sidelines. You know, they said the same thing about Dungy. Late game time decisions, which I think has some justification to it. And that's why they brought this guy in from Jacksonville, who had been there for 10 or 12 years, to make some critical calls. I mean, Bowles has a lot on his plate, Jay. And with the game on the line, when do you challenge a call? When do you call a timeout? When do you go for it on 4th and 2? You can't have too many guys in your ear. So they brought this guy in. But, Jay, if Bowles wins the division again, I mean, at some point you got to say the guy's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I've been in the minority. You know me, with half of my family being Giants fan, the other half being Jets fans. I was one of the people that was like, listen, be careful what you wish for, because it crashed and burned there with the Jets and it was not pretty. But I was also one of the guys going into this offseason going, I am not one of those people that are like, hey, get rid of Todd Bowles for Liam Cohen, because there is a lot of things that happen with a team that doesn't have good leadership. Ira, the last 2 years, this team has really struggled in the middle of the season. You're in that locker room. Has anybody talked about jumping ship? Has anybody talked to, has there been any upset people on the pirate ship there? No. Everybody's staying on board. Everybody's like, hey, we'll get out of this. We'll dig out of it. And 2 straight years they did. That doesn't happen with weak leadership. So for a guy like Liam Cohen that can jump and go to Jacksonville and do things in kind of a skeevy type of way, nobody's saying that, you don't go to Jacksonville, but the way he went about it, not answering phone calls, it's like, all right, well, that's how you make your decision when things may not be on the up and up. What happens in the locker room when something happens? You trust Todd Bowles is going to make that right decision. You look at all the leaders defensively, look at all the leaders offensively. They all respect Todd Bowles. And I'm with you. It seems like there's a majority of Bucs Nation that is just here. This is the shoe. They're just waiting for that other shoe to drop. And they're waiting for a 8-9 season to go, see, that guy sucks, get rid of him. Get somebody else. Go get Bill Belichick, which I just read the story on JoeBucksFan.com about Mike Florio and what he had to say. And if you guys missed it, go to JoeBucksFan.com. Could this be Todd Bowles' last season? Could the Buccaneers look elsewhere if they have an underwhelming season? The fact that we can't overwhelmingly say, yeah, no matter what happens this season, Todd Bowles is coming back, Ira, I think answers your question.
In terms of Jay, in terms of establishing a winning culture, you got to give Bowles his due. Now, Jason Light's part of it, Jay, by bringing in the right kind of players. And I think Light learned a lot of lessons after his first 5 or 6 drafts. Mistakes were made, reaches in the first round, reaches in the second round, Aguayo trying to get cute. It's hard to argue with Jason Light's picks the last 5 years, Jay. It's difficult. For every Joe Tryon, you got Antoine Winfield. You got Bucky Irving. You got Luke Gedeke. I mean, they're all over the map here. I think Cansey is going to be a really good player. But then Bowles molds these guys, and it's all for one. And these receivers are not divas, which is rare. And to your point, Jay, you look around the league and distractions and little dramas are being played out everywhere. And it doesn't happen at one Buck place. So, for all of Bowles' skeptics, you got to give him credit when it's due. Okay.
Ira, before I let you go, what is your thought process on Chris Godwin as far as, will he be ready for week 1? Are you concerned about how healthy he's going to be this year, and how much of the selection of Emeka Egbuka had to do with the uncertainty of his preparedness and his readiness for the 2025 season?
Jay, I've got a lot of respect for Jason Light as a talent evaluator. He knows what he's doing. He's got a great staff. But, Jay, when he went to the podium, which he did, and said the selection of Egbuka had nothing to do with Chris Godwin's rehab schedule, that's a bunch of nonsense. I don't say that's the main reason they drafted him, because they thought he was a really clean prospect.
Yes.
And I think they had him as a top 10 on their board.
He's probably one of the highest floor guys. Like, you could say that he may not live up to, being a Pro Bowler or an All-Pro, whatever, but there's no way, and I'm knocking on wood, there's just no way this guy's going to be a bust or a malcontent, or he's just going to be, at the very least, I think, a solid pro in the NFL. Do you agree
I'm
with
with
that?
you. And, I'm hearing from everybody at one buck in their descriptions of him. He's another Chris Godwin. That's what you keep hearing. He's Chris Godwin, part 2, and a lot younger. So to answer your question, JR, I'd be a little surprised if Godwin was, ready to go full bore in the middle of training camp. I think it's going to take some time. It was a very serious injury, very serious. And, Bryce Hall told Steve Isbitz, a Joe Bucs fan, last week that, he had a similar injury in week 1, dislocated ankle. And he was out for the whole year. He's running freely, but he said Godwin's injury was worse. It was worse than his. So, now they got Egbuka, and McMillan came on strong, and they still got, Evans, and I think this is a contract year for Otten. I think you'll see a better year for Otten. Who I think, Jay, I think he's kind of better than average tight end already. I think he's better than average. I'd like to see a little more of a downfield threat, but hey, maybe that's what Devin Culp's for.
I'm a huge Devin Culp fan. He looks like a wild stallion out there. He's got good hands. He can run. I'm a huge Devin Culp guy. If he can block, I think he's got the highest ceiling out of Otten, Payne Durham, and Devin Culp.
It could be, Jay, it could be a very interesting decision about whether to extend Otten and give him a contract extension if they think Culp's ready to move in there. Interesting.
If he can block, if both those guys can block, because remember, what did we talk about going into last year? None of these tight ends can block. That's what everybody said. But you change up the offense, and the best block I think all of last year was the crack block that Payne Durham had on one of the D tackles. I think it might have been Derek Brown in Carolina, and just smacked this dude. And I go, that's the guy that can't block, because he looks like he can block pretty darn well to me. The only guy in our area that knows ins and outs of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer, the Sage, Ira Kaufman. JoeBucksFan.com. Go check them out over there. They're on Saturdays on WDAE. Go check them out over there. The Ira Kaufman podcast. They just put one out on the 12th. Minicamp impressions, Bucky Irving futures bet, Hassan Reddick reaction, Baker Mayfield, and all that jazz. Kaufman76 on Twitter. Ira's just one of those guys when he tweets something out, it's not like me who tweets a million things out a day. If Ira's going to tweet something out, it's going to be something about music, something in the middle of nowhere. You just never know where Ira's coming from. But a lot of love for Lee, Steve, and Ira, and everybody over there with our friends over at Joe Bucs Fan. Go check them out today. Not a good, not a great, but a fantastic 20 minutes, my friend. Good luck to your Giants, and hit them straight on the golf course, brother. We'll talk soon.
My pleasure, and drive safe, baby.
Thanks, buddy. The man, Ira Kaufman. Check them out, JoeBucksFan.com. Those guys do a great job talking all things Buccaneers football. And listen, this is what happens. Ira and I get together, man. We're talking football. We're talking everything. We're talking United. We're talking music. We're talking food. He's bullish on the Bucs, and I am too. And it's different, right? Because I grew up a Giants fan. Ira grew up a Chiefs fan. So this isn't some of those things where we're just wearing these pewter red glasses. Just watching this team, there's a lot of good players. I mean, think about it. Ira was just mentioned the backup quarterback, right? If you're talking about concern of the backup quarterback, if that's on the tip of Ira's of mind right there, just think about it. That means that there's a lot of other things you don't necessarily have to worry about. And the big weaknesses with this team last year, and looking at primarily the defensive side of the ball, when you go use multiple draft picks on corners, and you go out and you move a guy like Tyke Smith to the safety spot, and maybe you have some undrafted guys that can help you out there in the secondary. Combine that with getting Hassan Reddick and drafting a couple guys on the defensive line. All you can do is address some of the weaknesses that you have. And a lot of times when you look at certain teams, they can say that they do that, and you have to almost believe them. And, listen, the Rays have played really well the last month. But the one thing about the Rays that drives me a little up the wall is that we have to kind of believe some of the things that they say. And you have to kind of take it for granted, or you just have to kind of take their word and give them the benefit of the doubt. And, you don't have to necessarily do that with the Bucs. What do you need? You don't need anybody to kind of frame this team in a certain way. We're like, okay, maybe I see it that way, or maybe that makes sense. Like right off the rip, you can just look at how this roster is constructed and go, hey, man, I mean, this team should be pretty freaking good in the 2025 season. I literally cannot wait for this season. Baker Mayfield stays healthy. That's going to be paramount. And I subscribe to the notion of, listen, if your starting quarterback is done and he gets hurt, you're probably screwed anyway. So I'm with that. But if he's out for a month, I mean, you see that with other teams too. And how good can their backups necessarily be? We don't necessarily know that. We saw it last year with who Jordan Love went down and Malik Willis was able to step in, but he didn't really have a ton of starts, ton of throws. Kyle Trask still being with the Bucs is one of those stories that I wonder if we really know the whole story. Like, if you're Kyle Trask, why did you stay here? Why did you stay here? Did you stay here because you thought that if Baker goes down, the way that he plays the game, that maybe inevitably he'll get banged up a little bit? Because you want to play. I said this to somebody the other day. Maybe it was our buddy Pat for Hit Factory. And it's different because if you're a professional athlete, right? Because you're getting paid millions of dollars. But I was always one of those guys where if I was going to play a sport, I wanted to play a sport where I was going to start. I wanted to play. I don't understand people like playing a sport or doing something and sitting the bench. That makes no sense for me. No sense to me at all. Go do something else. And granted, professional sports a little bit different. You get paid millions of dollars. What else are you going to do to get paid millions? Would you do the Jim Sorgi thing and hold the clipboard for Peyton Manning all those years? Probably. But if you're Kyle Trask and you're still young, you were a second-round draft pick, there wasn't one opportunity out there for you to go try to win a job. Does that mean that he doesn't have the faith, the belief in himself that he can win a starting job somewhere, or at least get an opportunity? Like, you see backup quarterbacks get chances all the time. Look at how many different places Jameis has went. Going to Cleveland, going to New Orleans. Now he's with the Giants. He went to different spots. Why didn't Kyle Trask try to go win a job somewhere, at least compete for a backup? I think he just stayed here. It's a weird dynamic. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one day. But a big thank you to our guy. Yeah, and then Brenny brings up a good point. Why would you leave Tampa? Yeah, I hear that. A big thank you to Ira Kaufman and our friends at JoeBucksFan.com. Go check them out today. A lot of great content. They're just continuously churning it out day after day, minute after minute. Let's see. Any other big news happening? We're seeing LSU 9-5 over UCLA in the bottom of the 8th there in the College World Series in Omaha. Jay Monahan to leave as the PGA Tour commish in 2026. No surprise there after everything. And he said he's going to focus his role as a member of the PGA Tour and PGA Tour Enterprises. I mean, not really a surprise there. We knew something like this was going to happen because Jay Monahan for a while was staunch in defending these players and defending the PGA Tour against LIV. And then there's these talks of them working together. So now all of the speeches that this guy gave and all of the support that he got from the players, guys like Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth and Justin Thomas and all these guys that said, no, we're not leaving. Tradition, all this stuff is important to us. And then Jay Monahan to have these kind of backdoor dealings behind their backs. It was only a matter of time before he was done. It was only a matter of time before he wasn't going to be the commissioner. And you want to talk about not surprised. Not me. I don't think anybody that follows golf will be surprised by that. So he is gone. And Brian Rowlap, the CEO, will now be the commissioner at the end of 2026. So it's still a little bit of a time to go before we get that. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Like and YouTube, or subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Trying to get over 1,500. If you're just joining us, one more interview today. Our guy Leo Fernandes is going to join us here in a bit. Final show of the week, because I'm going to South Carolina today at 3:00 for a baseball tournament. We'll be playing at Clemson tomorrow. So that is you got to think about it. If you're a high school kid and you're going to play in a tournament and you're getting to play in one of the probably one of the nicest D1 college baseball stadiums in the country playing there for the Clemson Tigers. We're not allowed to run down the hill. That's reserved for the football team, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We have 4 games, and we'll be back on Friday or Saturday, depending how well we do, and then back in action on Monday at noon right here on the Jay Recher podcast. So, yeah, again, follow me on all social media platforms, and, you can find out how everything is going. Let's bring him in. Friend of the program. He's in the Jay Recher podcast Hall of Fame of guests, our guy, Leo Fernandes, Tampa Bay Rowdies midfielder. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. What a win on Saturday night, man. I'm watching your game, watching the Sun game. I want to ask you about them real quick as well. But, I mean, what has been different, man? It seems like you're starting to turn the tide. A late win in the Jägermeister Cup, late win on Saturday night. Do you feel the shift? Do you feel the change in how the team has been playing the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, for sure. To be honest, been feeling it for a little bit now. We just haven't been getting the results that we feel like we deserved. But it's nice to finally see some of those ties and losses turning into wins. And I think the biggest positive is, right, like they haven't been perfect games, but we've been really just grinding it out and fighting to the last second. And then you saw that last night on Saturday as well.
Yeah, and it's, I've been to a bunch of the games so far this year, and to be able to be there in the post-game press conferences and asking you questions, and Forrest and Aaron and guys that I've, become so friendly with over the years. I know it's tough on you guys because I call you guys the core 4 with Lewis. So you've been there for so long, and what has it been like being in that locker room and just having, because the young guys look up to you guys, right? What do we do in situations like this? What has it been like for you guys having to be like, hey, just because the results aren't there right now, the process is right? What has that been like for you guys?
Yeah, it's a challenge, honestly. But for us, there's a reason why we've been playing the game for so long, and we know that if one thing that we have to do is put our head down and just keep working. It's never always going to be sunshines and rainbows. It's always going to be up and down. So for us, it's really just making sure that the young players know that this isn't going to last forever. As long as we keep doing the right things, we keep working hard, we show up in training, and then eventually the wins will start to come back.
What was it like to see Aaron score a goal? Because he's not always too close to the 18-yard box. I mean, it's great to see Manu score. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I can't remember the last time Aaron scored, man. So what was it like when you see a defender like that put one in the back of the net?
To be honest, I forgot that he had that in him. Funny story with Aaron is, like, I think in 2020, when he first joined the team, we had like a preseason game, and for the first set piece he scored, and it was like a great goal. It was like a half bicycle kick, and I'm like, oh, this guy's really good at set pieces. It took him 4 or 5 years later to score another one, but it was his second goal, and his first goal was like a counterattack goal. But for him, that was just it was amazing to watch, and it was special to see our captain bring us back in the game.
What has it been like working with Coach Steve? I mean, he's such a great guy. And again, one of the things that really endears me to him is that he's the first time I met him, he goes, "Oh, you're the guy with the podcast." And then, he keeps telling me every time I talk to him, he goes, "Jay, I'm studying about the club." And I heard that from some of the people behind the scenes of Jay. He really has just focused on the history of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. It means a lot to him to get to know where this club has been so he can help put it in a position to be in that place again going forward. What is it like to be with a guy that he really cares, about the history of the club, and just understanding like, hey, this is where it has been, this is where it needs to be going forward, because it's never easy to take over in the middle of a season.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the first thing that stuck out to me with Steve is like he's super honest guy. Like he'll tell you the way it is, and he's very straightforward, and I can respect that. I think a lot of the times you don't want people that say something and do something else. So for me, that was a big respect quality for that I thought he had. And then I think the Rowdies are such a historic team, and people really, really love and care about this team here in Tampa Bay, and for him to dive in and try to, research the history. And he's taught me so many things that I didn't even know about the club, and I've been here for a while now. So I think it's been great. And you want someone that understands the club and knows, what it means to be a Rowdy. And I think he's doing a good job with that. And, I think we're pushing in the right direction. He's doing a great job.
What about yourself on the pitch? And this is something you and I have talked about, and I know I talked about with him, of kind of finding your role. When you won the MVP a couple of years ago, where was your best spot on the pitch? Where did you operate the most from? And then where does that compare to kind of where you're at right now on the pitch?
In 2022, it was I think in like the first 6 games, I was starting as the left wing back. So I was on the left side operating over there, 1v1s and creating opportunities for teammates. And then towards the May, June, I was able to play like the 10 role, either it was the right-sided 10, middle 10, or left 10. And it was just the way the team was built that year. You know what I mean? We had a lot of guys that made runs going forward, so I was able to find them, and they created a lot of space for me in the middle of the park. So the way that the team was built that year was helpful for me to play at that position. But I think this year it's been tough because we've been trying to figure out some stuff that works, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So and like I've always told you, I'm happy when I'm on the field. So
yeah, just as long as you're out there, and especially having to deal with the injuries the last couple of years. How are you feeling? How is the how's the wheels and going in? Now that we're kind of getting into the hotter parts of the summer now.
Yes, feeling good. I think this is the toughest time of the year, right? When it's really hot, and even like a simple training session can feel like a game. It's just so hot outside. You go for a walk and you're sweating. So for me, it's really just trying to manage myself in these tough times. But I know from experience that this is when we can pick up a lot of points, because this is like the toughest time of the schedule, right? Everyone is kind of in the halfway point, or getting to the halfway point. So this is a very crucial time for the team.
You guys got a chance to play behind closed doors Benfica, which is obviously one of the bigger clubs in the world, and to be able to see some of the big names that were there, I thought it was freaking awesome to be able to see a picture with you and Otamendi and Angel. I mean, that's huge, man. What was it like to be able to share the pitch with those guys?
I mean, it's amazing. Those guys are different class. They are machines, right? Just to be on the field with them was special. Just to watch them play. And you always look on TV, right? You're like, oh, exactly what Di Maria is going to do. He's going to go inside and use his left foot. Why can't they stop him? And we got to witness it firsthand. So it was good. It was a good experience, a good learning experience. So and then you saw the game yesterday. I don't know if you watched, but Di Maria and Otamendi both scored.
You guys can take all the credit for that, to help them prepare for that. You're right. And Di Maria, to me, is probably one of the biggest mysteries in United history, because he was fantastic before then. He was fantastic after then. Club, country, just whatever it was at United, it just didn't work out for him, unfortunately. But yeah, he's going to go down as an all-time great. And you want to talk about guys that have, he's one of the few guys to play with. Messi and Ronaldo at a big time level. Like, not many people have.
He's played with everybody. Almost every superstar. Neymar, Ibrahimovic.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
What a career that he has had. What has it been like? Father's Day, and happy belated Father's Day. Now that the kids are getting older, they love the pitch. They love being around. The Rowdies do such a great job of giving out and putting out these social media posts with all you guys that are fathers now. What is it like to be able to share that with the boys?
It's great. It's great. I mean, honestly, they're the reason why I'm still playing to this day. I think for them, they just love coming out to the stadium. They love coming out to watch us, the Rowdies, play. They're just massive supporters now. They're part of Ralph's mob, so. For me, it's trying to making sure that I'm taking care of my body so I can go out there and play on Saturday and put out a good performance for them.
How cool was it to be able to see the Tampa Bay Sun win the USL Super League final? I mean, obviously, we're all Tampa Bay here, and just there was so many nice videos from you guys before and after they won. I mean, to be able to see the talent that they have, and that's got to be really cool to kind of see them do their thing and the inaugural season to be able to hoist the trophy.
Yeah, that's amazing. We're super proud of them. We're super excited for them, and I think they really did the city of Tampa Bay really proud. And I know they have some great players over there, and hopefully we can bring one as well. But now for us, we were just super excited for them, and hopefully they can do it again.
Yeah, no doubt. And with you guys, I mean, just looking, you don't want to look at the table necessarily right now, but it looks better than it has the last couple of weeks. And you got to just keep pressing. Like, what's the focus here the next couple of weeks? It's one thing to get results, but I think now you're at the point of the season. I don't want to speak out of turn, but this just seems like you guys need to get some wins here rather than just
Sorry.
No, you're good. Rather than draws, you guys need some wins.
Yeah, no, for sure. Speaking about the table, that's so funny because my son reminds me of where we're at.
It's always the son or your dad. It's always somebody's son or somebody's dad or somebody's wife, right?
Yeah, he's letting me know where we're at and how many points we need to make the playoffs. So, no, yeah, like you said, I think a couple of games coming up, definitely some winnable games. So we have to come out and really be fighting for 3 points like it's a final, basically. And, obviously Pittsburgh this week is not an easy place to go to. But, yeah, we have full confidence on our team. We're starting to finally perform the way that we should be. But, no, like you said, we have to start picking up some points.
All right, tell me about what's going on off the pitch. Soccer HQ, everything. I mean, you guys, the social media looks great. You put your boy on there. That's very smart. Good-looking kid. So what? Tell everybody, because we've been kind of going back and forth about this, but just everybody that's hearing it for the first time, what's going on as far as this indoor facility that is helping out some of these youngsters play?
Yeah, Soccer HQ is, like you said, an indoor facility where we are catering to more of the younger players and trying to just help them out if they're starting to play soccer at a young age from 3 all the way to 13. And I think for me, living here in Tampa Bay for a long time, there's a little bit of a bridge where it goes to rec and then club soccer. And I think this place kind of just helps connect that gap where if you're not sure if you want to play club soccer yet, or if you're not sure if you want to be in the rec, and over there it just gives you extra touches, a way to learn the game, and honestly just have some fun with it. And I think what's missing in this country is a place where you can go out and just express yourself and have fun. And Soccer HQ is hopefully going to be a platform for that.
SoccerHQUSA.com. You can go check it out over there. I actually used to work at an indoor baseball facility. And when I first moved here, that was my first job when I moved here back in 2005. And I did a class called Born to Play with 3 and 4-year-olds. And it was like the most rewarding thing of all time. These kids could barely speak, but it was just basic motor skills, catching, hitting. And then I did 5 and 6-year class, 7 and 8, 9 to 10, 11 and 12, and all the way up. And it was just such a great outlet for young baseball players that were learning to play the game. Like you said, bridging the gap at that time between little league and travel ball. You're doing the same thing for, rec and club. And, I think some of the kids get lost, Leo, don't they? Like in the situation where maybe you get into a situation where, you want to be involved, but you don't know how good you are and you don't know kind of where you fit in. And is it classes? Is it a place that you can rent? Like what is the entire thing going to be there? Classes available, individual lessons? What is it?
Yeah. So right now it's classes available. So you hop in, you go into the website, and then you just pick like open class for, 2 to 3 year olds or 4 to 5, and it goes all the way up to 13. So we like I said, like we're not affiliated with any clubs in the area. So you can, it's just a place where you can go, develop your skills, work on things that you usually can't work on if you are on a team, right? Because when you're with a team, it's usually tactical, or you're working as for the weekend. You're trying to win a game on Saturday. So for our place, it's really just to go out there, learn some new moves, get comfortable on the ball. And I think for me, my personal opinion, right, that's the biggest thing missing in this country. Right. The technique part when you're playing in tight spaces, because when you get older And if you haven't developed that technique, it's very tough to learn that at a later age.
Yeah, soccerhquusa.com has all the information on there. You definitely go check them out, contact them for more information. I wanted to ask you about that too before I let you go. I was just listening to Taylor Twellman or somebody talking about Landon Donovan's comments of all the U.S. players not playing in the Gold Cup and saying that they need a break. And, Taylor was saying, listen, we're the only country that deals with load management, that deals with, guys need a mental break. And, you look at Messi and you look at Ronaldo and, especially Ronaldo's a little bit older and, like they're playing in Saudi and then he's playing for Portugal and the nation, like, so it's, what is it about this? Is that one of the things that's holding this country back, you think, from really getting to the next? I mean, it's one thing to not have our best athletes playing soccer because, they play football, they play baseball, they play basketball. We get that. But I think the mindset may be a thing that's lacking because it's not good when you have a Gold Cup roster out there and you're not seeing Weston McKennie, you're not seeing Pulisic, you're not seeing a lot of these guys that the reason why they went to go play in Europe and play in the big 5 leagues is to get ready for international competition. You're challenging yourselves against the best. Do you think there is that mindset change that needs to happen with U.S. soccer too?
Yeah, that's a tough question, right? But honestly, I do believe that it's a mindset, it's a culture, right? I think if you look at South America, Europe, like these guys are dying to play for the national.
Yeah, you don't hear that for Brazil, right? Like Casemiro, he was out of the national team for a little bit for a couple of the competitions, and God, that must have killed him. And he's sitting there busting his butt for Man U. Like I think he's the greatest example out of everything because you look at a guy like Casemiro who has won everything you can win. He goes to Manchester United. They're not good. He's getting sat on the bench because they're playing him in the middle of the park. A guy in his early 30s, which doesn't make sense anyway. He gets benched. He goes and he works his butt off. He loses 15 pounds. Now he's starting in these games. Now he's back on the national team starting for Carlo Ancelotti. And I look at that and I go, an American player might just say, screw that. And I don't care. I'm not playing for my national team anymore. And it's crazy how it's so important for these players to play for their country. If that mindset doesn't change, I don't see how the U.S. will ever be a world power in this sport if it's not a secondary and it's not, they don't treat it as a priority.
Yeah, and I think if I look at Christian Pulisic's point of view, right, it's like two ways. It's like he's had a lot of injuries, so maybe he's trying to save his body for the World Cup. But then you can also say he doesn't feel threatened, in his position.
Right.
He's always gonna, if he's ready to go, he's always gonna be the number 10 for the national team, and that's also a problem, right? If you don't have competition, then you're not getting better with the national team, and you see that we have 11, 12 really good players for the national team, but then after that, the talent kind of drops. So, I look at it both ways.
Yeah, and I look at the Brazil team too. I mean, I look at guys, like Rafinha, right? And man, that guy was playing for Leeds. Then he goes to Barcelona. And now he's one of the best players in the world. And just going to the right place and playing is going to change. I mean, he was playing for Leeds. And I'm not, talking about Leeds was a team that's, they're in the championship. They're going to be back in the Premier League next year. Now he's playing for Barcelona. He's playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. And now he's like, you can't take him off the team sheet for one of the greatest teams in the world. And for guys to think like, and I know he's done great at AC Milan, but I mean, my God, it's pretty wild to think. What's your goal focused here in the next couple of weeks for you personally as you guys get ready to really go in the meat of this schedule?
Yeah, I think it's take it day by day, right? Win each day, making sure that we stay on the process that we started. Was a month or 2 months ago. So for us, is making sure that we win each day, and then when the game comes, we perform like we've been performing and get 3 points.
Have you ever, before I let you go, I asked Sydney Nasello this from the Tampa Bay Sun. Have you ever scored an Olympico goal off the corner?
Wow. I think maybe in college, not in the pros. Yeah. I've scored one of those where, it's like a free kick by the corner flag and it just goes to you in. I've done that a couple of times, but not off a corner.
Yeah, because obviously Mateus Cunha scored one for the Wolves against Man U, and I was like, yeah, that's going to be the one. And then she almost scored in the final like that. And I go, did you try to do that? She goes, no. I was like, I would have lied. I would have said, yeah, of course I did. Yeah, definitely. She was so close. It was amazing. All right, SoccerHQUSA.com. Go there now. All the information. Welcome to Soccer HQ. They answer all of your questions. They have their story. Find a way to get started. You can contact them. They have frequently asked questions as well. Age-appropriate curriculum for every stage. They have the qualified caring coaches who know how to engage kids. Go check them out, and they'll tell you why parents choose Soccer HQ. Again, SoccerHQUSA.com. Our guy, Leo Fernandes, give my love to the entire squad. Safe travels, my friend. Keep on getting those results. Give my love to the fam, and we'll talk soon, buddy. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Leo Fernandes, one of my favorites, again, on the Hall of Fame when it comes to our guests here on the J Recher podcast, SoccerHQUSA.com. All right, guys. What a show. What a freaking show. David Terry, DT, Lady Evil. Man, look at this. 4 donations today. Chan Leonard, my pal at Joe Bucs fan, Lady Evil, David Terry. Guys, I mean, entirely humbled, and I can't thank you guys enough. Every little bit helps. It really does. I can't thank you guys enough. What a show today. A big thank you to JJ Moser, to Brady North, to Leo Fernandes, to Ira Kaufman. What a cavalcade of stars. It's been a lot of fun this week, including yesterday's guests, Sydney Nasello and Bryce Archie and Ian Beckel. 7 big-time guests here on the program. And that's it for me this week. We leave at 3 o'clock. We head up to South Carolina. And, we'll be playing at Clemson tomorrow. So make sure you guys check me out. Hold on, Coach. Okay, so there's something right now. This is from Coach Denise Schulte Brown. Nils Hogan. We have a sets. Hold on, guys. Nils Hogan, Emily Hogan organizing this fundraiser. All right, I'm going to share this on my, it's a GoFundMe. Emily Hogan. Hold on, guys, real quick before we sign off here. All right. So this is Nils Hogan. This is organized by Emily Hogan. Oh, this is really sad. Victoria Hogan is a member of the Tampa Bay Sun, and it looks like this could be her dad. Okay, so I'm going to repost this on my my Instagram. I'm going to put this on my Instagram. I'll do it in a little bit. But just make sure you guys can do what you can, please. Because every little bit helps, man. It's so crazy to think. All right, I'll do this in a second. Go to my Instagram at JRecher. Nils Hogan fighting prostate cancer, organized by Emily Hogan. I believe it's her sister Victoria that's on the Tampa Bay Sun. Please do whatever you can. I'm going to post it on all of my social medias right now. Every little bit helps. Again, thank you to everybody that's joined us on the show. Ian Beckel, Sydney Nasello, and Bryce Archie yesterday. And then today, Brady North, JJ Moser, Ira Kaufman, Leo Fernandes, and you. Follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Off the rest of the week. Back in action on Monday. I love you all. Have a great rest of your week. Go Rays. Go everybody. Go Rowdies. Go Sun. Go Bulls. We love you all. We'll see you Monday at noon right here on the J Recher podcast. I am gone. Peace out.